I looked into an old email account I hadn't used in years, thinking it would be empty, but someone had been secretly using it, knew far too much about me, and started bringing up the dark secret I shared with my teacher years ago. I tried to ignore it, until last night, when I heard footsteps inside my house, and they definitely weren't coming from where I thought. A few months ago, I turned 25, and I think it was the first time I truly felt old. Not physically old. Old in that strange way where you look around and realize your life stopped moving forward a long time ago, but you kept pretending nothing was wrong. Most of my days were the same. I'd wake up late because I no longer had a reason to get up early. Scroll through my phone for half an hour without really paying attention to anything. Then cheap coffee, some frozen food, and sending resumes to jobs I didn't even want. I'd been unemployed for almost 8 months. The last job I had was remote tech support for a small company that eventually went bankrupt. Before that, I worked at an electronics store where a 40-year-old manager talked to us like we were still in high school. Before that, I tried studying graphic design and dropped out in my second year because I couldn't afford college anymore. My mom still thinks I'm just going through a phase. My dad stopped asking me questions altogether. And honestly, I don't blame them. I wouldn't know what to do with me either. I lived alone in a tiny apartment above a 24-hour laundromat. The walls were so thin I could hear my neighbor coughing in the middle of the night. The building permanently smelled like dampness, stale cigarettes, and cheap detergent. It wasn't exactly miserable, but it didn't feel like a real life either. It felt more like being stuck between chapters. The only person I talked to regularly was Ethan, an online friend I'd been gaming with since high school. We'd never met in person. Sometimes we'd talk for hours while he edited videos or while I pretended to look for work. That night, we were playing something when it happened. I was searching for an old file on my laptop because I wanted to rebuild my resume from scratch. My folders were packed with years of useless junk. Random PDFs, old assignments, memes saved since 2018, blurry photos. Then I found a document called Recover Account. I didn't even remember making it. I opened it. Inside, there was only an email and a password. My old high school email. I stared at it for a few seconds because seeing that name gave me a weird feeling in my stomach. Like finding an old photo of yourself wearing clothes you'd never wear again. What happened? Ethan asked through Discord. Nothing. Found an old account. Bet there's historic cringe buried in there. Yeah, probably. I logged into the email out of pure curiosity. I expected the usual. Thousands of promotions, forgotten accounts, weird Russian spam. But something felt wrong immediately. The inbox was too clean, too organized. There were labeled folders, carefully archived emails, recent activity. At first, I figured Google probably updated things automatically or something, until I saw the last login. 2 days ago. From my own city. A small knot tightened in my chest. You good? Ethan asked again. I think someone got into my email. Just change the password. Yeah, that would have been the normal thing to do, but I kept looking. I don't know why. Maybe because part of me already knew something was wrong. There was a folder called Drafts. I opened it. Empty. Or so I thought. Until I noticed something strange in the corner. One hidden item. I clicked it. A draft with no subject appeared. I opened it, and I felt my entire body go cold. Because it said, you still dream about the fall even though you pretend you don't. I stopped breathing for a second. My hands froze over the keyboard. Ethan was still talking through my headset, but I couldn't understand a word he was saying anymore. I kept reading. The worst part wasn't watching him bleed. The worst part was how you stayed silent. I slammed the laptop shut, hard enough that Ethan stopped talking. Alex, what happened? I didn't answer right away, because my mind had just been dragged back to a place I'd spent years trying not to revisit. The Westfield High Gymnasium. The metal bleachers. The smell of cheap beer. Noah lying on the floor. And Mr. Adams saying, listen carefully. If you call the police right now, every single one of you goes down. Alex. Ethan's voice pulled me out of the memory. What the hell happened? I opened the laptop again. The draft was gone. I checked the entire account. Nothing. No hidden folder. No message. No history. As if it had never existed. I think I'm just tired, I finally said. Ethan laughed quietly. Yeah, brother, get some sleep. I didn't tell him anything. After we hung up, I sat there in silence for almost 20 minutes staring at the dark laptop screen. I hadn't thought about Noah in years. Or at least that's what I told myself. Because the truth was different. Some memories never disappear. They just learn how to stay still. That night, it took me forever to fall asleep. And when I finally did, I dreamed the exact same thing I'd been dreaming since I was 18. Noah falling backward. The sound of his head hitting metal. Mia screaming my name. And blood. So much blood. I woke up around 3:12 in the morning drenched in sweat. The TV was still on, humming softly with static. The fan spun lazily above me. And someone was walking in the hallway outside my apartment. Slow footsteps. Dragging one foot slightly. Once. Twice. 3 times. They stopped right outside my door. I thought it was some drunk neighbor. Until I heard 3 soft knocks. Talk, talk, talk. I didn't answer. The knocks came again. Louder this time. I slowly got out of bed and walked toward the peephole. The hallway was empty. Completely empty. But right beneath my door, there was something. A white envelope. And written across it in black marker were the words, you let him die first. I didn't open the envelope immediately. The first thing I did was check the lock. then the chain, then the peephole again. Nothing. The hallway was still empty, lit by that awful yellow lighting that made the whole building look older than it really was. I heard the elevator open on another floor and someone laughing in the distance, but near my door, there was nobody. Even so, I waited almost 5 minutes before crouching down. The envelope was cold. I don't even know why I remember that, but I remember it perfectly. Cold, like it had been sitting outside for a long time. I carried it to the kitchen without taking my eyes off the entrance. Inside was a single photograph. An old one, printed on glossy paper, which already felt strange nowadays. I recognized it immediately. High school graduation. Me, Mia, and Noah sitting on the gym bleachers wearing our blue gowns over our uniforms. Noah was in the middle, smiling with that tired expression he always had during senior year. Behind us, slightly out of focus, stood Mr. Adams. Up to that point, everything was normal. The problem was that the photo had changed. Because I remembered that picture perfectly. The original had been on Facebook years ago, and Adams wasn't standing behind us. I slowly turned the photo over. Something had been written on the back in black ink. He was watching you even before you noticed him. My chest tightened instantly. Not fear. Not yet. It was that specific feeling when something buried starts moving around inside your head again. My first instinct was to call someone, but I had no one to call. My high school friends disappeared years ago. Some moved away, some started families, some simply kept living like normal people. I didn't. I got stuck somewhere between 18 and now. I grabbed my phone and searched Mia's name on Instagram. Her profile still existed. Last post almost a year ago. A picture of a dog. Nothing else. I sent her a message. I don't know if you still use this, but I need to ask you something about Noah. Seen. Almost immediately. That made me nervous for some reason. Her reply came less than 30 seconds later. Don't ever message me about that again. The screen lit up my face in the dark kitchen. I typed again. Someone left something outside my door. 2 full minutes passed. Then, a photo. My heart started pounding. How do you know? No response. I called her. She declined it. I called again. Declined again. The third time, she answered. She didn't say hello. Only, what exactly did you receive? Her voice sounded different. Older. Exhausted. I told her about the envelope. Silence. Then I heard her light something. Probably a lighter. Mia, I got things too. That froze me. What kind of things? Photos. Emails. Files. Who's sending them? I don't know. How long? I heard her exhale slowly before answering. About a month. I stood up from the chair. And you didn't tell me, because I thought it would stop. Stop what? She took too long to answer. Alex, someone knows what happened that night. I automatically looked toward my apartment door. Noah died 7 years ago. Yeah, and Adams died 4. That's what they say. I frowned. What does that mean? But Mia didn't answer immediately. Instead, she asked, did you ever wonder why the coffin was closed? A chill crawled through my entire body. Because yes, I had wondered. Just never too hard. Right then, I heard a noise on the other side of my window. A small, dull tap. I turned fast. My apartment was on the 2nd floor. The window overlooked the alley behind the building. Someone was standing down there watching me. I couldn't make out their face because the outside light barely worked, but I saw one thing clearly. The person was wearing a dark gray hoodie. The same kind of hoodie Noah always wore. I stepped back immediately. Mia, I said quickly. There's someone outside. What? But when I looked back out the window, the person was gone. Just the empty alley. Trash bags shifting in the wind. Then my laptop made a sound from the kitchen. A notification. I ran toward it. The old email account was still open. A new message had arrived. No sender. No subject. Just an attached file. Mia was still on the call. Alex, what's happening? I opened the file. It was a video. Grainy. Dark. Clearly recorded on an old phone. At first, I couldn't tell what I was looking at. Then I recognized the gym. The bleachers. The party. My breathing stopped. Because it was a video from that night. And someone had recorded everything. The video was 9 minutes and 34 seconds long. I remember that exactly because I stared at the number for several seconds before I finally worked up the nerve to press play. Mia was still on the call. Alex. I didn't answer. Alex, talk to me. There's a video. Silence. Then. Of what? Noah. I heard something fall on her end. Maybe a glass. No, yeah. I hit play before I could change my mind. The recording started out unfocused. The gym floor, moving shoes, empty bottles, legs passing in front of the camera. Music blasting through the speakers from the school event. The date in the corner confirmed everything. October 14th, 7 years ago. My throat went completely dry. The camera finally steadied, and I recognized the place immediately. The north side bleachers of the gym. The area where barely any teachers were watching that night. There was laughter. People shouting. Then Noah appeared. He was sitting alone near the top corner of the bleachers, holding a bottle and nervously bouncing his leg. But something looked wrong with him. Very wrong. It took me a few seconds to realize what it was. He didn't look drunk. He looked exhausted. Like he was desperately trying to stay awake. The camera zoomed in. Noah's eyes were completely red. And he was sweating heavily. Mia, I muttered. He wasn't drunk. She didn't answer. I think she already knew. In the video, someone approached Noah. A guy I didn't recognize at first. They talked for a few seconds, but the music drowned everything out. Then Noah suddenly stood up. stumbling, and started walking down the bleachers. The camera followed him. That's when Adams appeared. The teacher was wearing the same black shirt I remembered, sleeves rolled up, right knee stiff, walking with that slight dragging motion in his foot. The footsteps. My whole body went cold when the pieces connected. The footsteps outside my door. The hallway. Mia's call. Everything. In the video, Adams grabbed Noah by the arm. Not aggressively. Worse, like someone trying to quietly control a situation. Noah violently pulled away. And even though I couldn't hear most of the words clearly, I heard one sentence perfectly. Tell them what you do. The camera shook. The person filming moved closer. And then I appeared. Younger. Thinner. Wearing that horrible blue hoodie I used to wear all through high school. Seeing myself there felt disgusting. Like watching someone else wear my face. Mia appeared behind me. Everyone was talking at once. Noah was yelling. Adams was trying to shut him up. And then something happened that I didn't remember. Something that made me physically sick. Right before he fell, Noah looked directly at the camera. Directly. Like he knew someone was recording the whole thing. And he said, if something happens to me, it was him. Adams lunged at him immediately. I reacted too, trying to separate them. And then, the shove, the fall, the impact. The camera immediately lowered. People screamed. Mia crying. Someone shouting, call an ambulance. Then Adams' voice. Perfectly clear. Turn that shit off. The video ended there. No ending. No context. Just a black screen. I realized I was breathing way too fast. Mia was still silent on the other end of the call. Finally, she spoke. He lied to us. Noah was trying to say something. No, she said, her voice shaking. I mean Adams. He said Noah was drunk. That nobody would believe us. I collapsed back into my chair. Because at that moment, I understood something horrifying. For 7 years, I had convinced myself it was an accident caused by alcohol and panic. But Noah had been drugged. And Adams knew it from the very beginning. My laptop made another sound. New email. Subject. Watch minute 7:13. A chill shot through me instantly. I reopened the video. Skipped to the timestamp. The camera was moving through the crowd just before the fight started. I watched it once. Then again. And the third time, I felt nauseous. Because behind Noah, standing near the gym doors, there was someone watching everything. A student. Thin. Still. Holding the camera. And I recognized him immediately. Ethan. My Discord friend. The same person I had spoken to just hours earlier. The same guy who told me to just go to sleep. The same guy who had spent years talking to me almost every week. I heard Mia's voice change. Alex, who is that? But I could barely speak. Because at that exact moment, another message arrived. Not to my email this time. To my phone. Unknown number. Finally remembered me. I didn't reply to the message. I just stared at my phone screen while something strange crawled up my chest. It wasn't just fear. It was that specific feeling of realizing you've spent years talking to someone without ever really knowing them. Mia was still breathing hard on the other end of the call. Who is Ethan? I don't know. You literally just said his name. Because I think I know him. You think? I ran a hand over my face. Not in person. Silence. What? I explained quickly. Discord. Games. Calls. Years of talking online. And while I talked, it all started sounding ridiculous even to me. We'd never video called. Never met. It never seemed strange because that's how a lot of online friendships work. You play games, talk, share memes, get used to someone's voice and that's it. But now my mind was replaying every detail. The times Ethan knew things that were way too specific about me. How he always avoided talking about his past. How he never wanted to add me on personal social media. How he disappeared for days every October. Mia, I said slowly. I think he was there that night. I don't understand. In the video, he was the one recording. I heard her mutter a curse under her breath. My phone vibrated again. Another message. Answer Discord. I instinctively looked at my computer. The app was open. And Ethan was calling me. The screen lit up the dark apartment with that awful notification. Ethan calling. I didn't want to answer. But I couldn't ignore it either. I picked up. Silence. Only soft static. Ethan. Nothing. Who are you? A faint nasal laugh came through. Very slight. You took a really long time to remember me. It was the same voice as always. Relaxed. Almost tired. That was the worst part. He didn't sound insane. He sounded normal. Mia's listening, I said. Hi, Mia. She went completely silent. What do you want? I asked. I wanted you to see the video. Why? Because the two of you have been lying to yourselves for years. I stood up from the chair and started pacing nervously around the apartment. If you wanted justice, you could have gone to the police. The police? He let out a quiet laugh. Alex, you literally helped cover everything up. We didn't know. Yes, you did. His tone changed there. He didn't yell. But for the first time, he sounded genuinely angry. He said Adams touched him. He said it more than once. My head started hurting. Because yes, he did. Not directly. Never that clearly. But there were signs. Weird comments. The strange fear whenever he was alone with Adams. Mood swings. And we were either too stupid or too cowardly to face it. Who are you really? Mia finally asked. Silence. Then, I was his friend. Daniel was his brother. I was there before him. My breathing slowed. Why get close to me all these years? Because I wanted to see if you'd ever tell the truth on your own. And, another pause. No, the call fell silent for a few seconds. Then we heard something. Footsteps. On Ethan's side. Slow, dragging one foot slightly. My body froze instantly. Ethan stopped talking too. The footsteps sounded close, like someone was walking inside the same room as him. Mia, I whispered. Do you hear that? Yeah. The footsteps stopped. Then Ethan spoke again, but now his voice sounded different. Lower. Nervous. He's not supposed to be here. A horrible emptiness opened in my stomach. Who? No answer. A loud thud echoed through the call, like something falling over. Then heavy breathing. And then Ethan said something I still remember perfectly. Alex, someone got into my house. The call started breaking apart. Static. Banging noises. Ethan breathing fast. Ethan, I shouted. What's happening? We heard a door slowly creak open. Then those footsteps again, dragging the right foot. Talk, talk, talk. Like someone walking slowly across old wooden floors. And then a voice. Distant. Distorted through the microphone. But clear. You still record people without permission. Ethan let out a strange sound, like he had suddenly stumbled backward. Who are you? He yelled. The answer came immediately. You already know me. Then the call died. Black screen. Discord disconnected. Mia spoke first. Was that a joke? No, I answered too quickly, because I knew it wasn't. I tried calling again. Nothing. Again. Nothing. Profile offline. No activity. Mia started talking fast, panicked. Alex, this is completely out of control now. But I barely heard her, because something had just caught my attention. The reflection in my kitchen window. There was a figure standing behind me. Not outside. Inside the apartment. I turned so fast I slammed into the table. Nobody there. But the bathroom door was open, and I remembered perfectly leaving it closed. My phone vibrated. Another unknown message. Now you understand how Noah felt. I didn't sleep that night. Neither did Mia. We stayed on the call until 6 in the morning, speaking every 20 minutes just to make sure the other person was still there. Every sound felt like something. The building's pipes. The elevator. Neighbors shutting doors. Everything sounded different after hearing those footsteps over and over again. I tried to convince myself there had to be a logical explanation. That Ethan was sick. Obsessed. That he'd probably spent years manipulating us using Noah's trauma. But there was one part of the situation that didn't fit. Someone had entered my apartment. That wasn't paranoia anymore. The photo in the kitchen didn't appear on its own. The bathroom door didn't open itself. And those footsteps, those damn footsteps. At 8 in the morning, Mia texted me. Daniel answered. I called her immediately. She put him on speaker. Daniel sounded exhausted, like he hadn't slept in days. When we mentioned Ethan, he went quiet for a few seconds. Then he said, I told you he wasn't okay. Where is he? I asked. I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? He disappeared months ago. An immediate chill ran through me. What? Daniel took a deep breath. After getting Adam's letters, he started getting worse. He kept saying Noah was still trapped. That nobody had really paid for what happened. Mia spoke up. Worse how? He started following people. Silence. Taking pictures. Breaking into places. Saying he needed proof. My apartment suddenly felt much smaller. Do you think he broke into our homes? I don't know what Ethan is capable of anymore. That didn't help at all. We agreed to meet that afternoon. Daniel said he had something important to show us. I spent the next few hours checking absolutely everything in my apartment. Closets. Under the bed. Windows. Nothing. But while searching the kitchen, I found something strange. My silverware drawer was slightly open, and inside was a key. Small. Silver. With black tape attached to it where someone had written, Westfield Storage, and instant emptiness opened in my chest. Mia received one too. We met Daniel around 5. It was strange seeing him in person after hearing so much about him. He had Noah's same jawline, the same exhausted way of looking at things. He took us to an old storage facility on the other side of town. A depressing place full of metal units and flickering fluorescent lights. The key opened unit 214. Daniel hesitated before lifting the door. Ethan used to come here a lot. The metal door slowly rolled upward, and the air inside smelled awful. Dust. Humidity. Stale air. But that wasn't what froze me. It was the walls, covered in photos. Hundreds, maybe thousands. Pictures of me, of Mia, of Noah, of Mr. Adams. Newspaper clippings, printed screenshots, schedules, addresses, handwritten notes connected with red string like some conspiracy nightmare made real. But the worst thing was at the back. A desk. And on top of it, an open laptop. The screen was still on. There was a document open. Just one sentence. They're finally starting to remember everything. Mia started crying silently. Daniel looked completely destroyed. I could barely breathe. Then I noticed something else. An old VHS tape connected to a small television, and a label written in marker, Jim Original. Daniel saw it too. I haven't seen that one before. I inserted the tape. The television filled with static. Then the recording appeared. Different angle. Closer. Another camera. And this time, we saw everything. Noah screaming, Adams holding him, me trying to intervene. But then something happened none of us remembered, because after the fall, Noah was still alive, breathing, moving, trying to speak. Mia let out a strangled sound. In the video, Adams rushed down the bleachers and knelt beside Noah. I thought he was going to help him, but he didn't. He looked around first, then pressed both hands against Noah's throat. Time completely stopped inside my head. Noah started struggling desperately, weakly, confused. Adams whispered something into his ear while he did it. Me and Mia were too far away in the recording to hear what he said. Then Adams shouted at us. And that's where the chaos we remembered began. The ambulance, the blood, the lies. But Noah didn't die from the fall. Adams killed him. I stumbled backward so hard I crashed into a shelf. Mia was openly sobbing. Daniel looked like he was about to throw up. And then we heard a noise behind us. The metal storage door slamming shut. All of us turned instantly. Someone was standing outside the unit. Gray hoodie, hood up, thin, still. Ethan. For the first time, I was actually seeing him, and in his hands was an old camera pointed directly at us. Nobody spoke for several seconds. Then Ethan said, with terrifying calm, "Now you can finally say you remember the truth." Daniel stepped forward furiously. "What the hell do you want from us?" Ethan didn't even look at him. He kept staring at me. "I wanted you to feel the same thing." "What thing?" "The feeling of knowing someone can get in whenever they want." A horrible chill ran through me, because at that moment, I understood something. The footsteps, the photos, the envelopes, none of it was meant to kill us. It was meant to slowly destroy us the same way Noah had been destroyed. Ethan lowered the camera slightly, and for the first time, his voice sounded genuinely sad. "Noah spent months terrified. You never noticed." Mia started saying. "We didn't know." "Yes, you did," Ethan replied immediately. "It was just easier to look away." The silence after that was brutal, because there wasn't a real defense against those words. Not completely. In the distance, we started hearing sirens. Daniel looked at us, surprised. "I called the police before we came in," he said. Ethan heard the sirens too, and he smiled faintly. Tired, empty. Then he stepped backward. "I'm done now." And he ran. Daniel immediately chased after him. I tried to move too, but Mia grabbed my arm. "Let him go." The sirens kept getting closer. And for the first time in years, I understood something horrible but simple. The real problem was never just Mr. Adams. It was how easy it was for all of us to pretend we didn't see anything. Ethan disappeared that night. The police found the storage unit, the photos, the recordings, and Adams' letters. The case was reopened. Months later, the truth about Noah was officially made public. But it didn't fix anything. Mia started therapy. Daniel left the city. And I still wake up some nights thinking I hear footsteps outside my door. Slow, dragging the right foot slightly. The worst part is that now I check the peephole every single time. Always. Because once, 2 weeks ago, I found something taped to the other side of my door. A new photograph. Taken from inside my apartment while I was asleep.